This is a stone flume that goes behind the homes along Horseshoe. And this one wasn't concrete, it was a stone that was laid down. We can see that it's been pretty much destroyed. And there's no way that water can really drain out of these things. What we have are dried little swamps and pools of garbage and stuff. And it's just green and festering. And you can see where this area has been carved out by the water that rushed through here. And this is, as we get any rain or anything, this is just going to sit as a swamp. Okay, well here's Bear Creek. And we have a channel that runs here into it. And what's supposed to come down in here is our rainwater from a drainage thing on the road, whatever you call those things. But you can see that this thing is completely filled in with debris, such that the water, it'd be very difficult for it to make it to the creek. Let's see if I can zoom in on this. There's the actual drain pipe over there, but between it and the creek there's just more garbage and just standing water. If we get any more rain anytime soon, this is just going to sit here as a nasty, stinking pile of ooh. Sad thing is, that's right next to somebody's house. This is the bridge that goes over a flume that's along Boxwood and Horseshoe. And we can see that this thing's got 3 pipes, or maybe that's 4. And one is completely clogged. This thing's all jammed up with sedimentation. And again, standing water and garbage. Let me take a look at the other side. Here's the south side of the same drain, and again it's all filled in, more standing water. And when we restrict the flow like this, it's going to have to raise the levels. We've got houses on both sides of this thing, and as I get closer up here, we can see just beyond the Carriage Glen property lines more standing dark water. Yeah, that drain pipe on the left is totally taken out of action there, and the right one pretty much too. Now the water from underneath those bridges is supposed to flow down this channel, and it pretty much runs all year long, even more in the spring and summertime when the sprinklers are going. And what that water is supposed to do is come down here to the end of the flume and then go across the floodplain back over there where I was still walking around the rocks and drain back into the creek. We saw that's full, that's jammed up. And we see here what's happened is the water here, the end of the flume is all silted in, full of rotting stuff, garbage. And once again, the end of another drainage area is just the water. What I'm walking in is just mush. This is just standing water, rotting leaves that has nowhere to go because the topography's changed in here, such that the water has nowhere to go. It's supposed to go over there, but it just stops here and sits. And you can see that, just like over on 12 Oaks, it just creates piles of garbage that comes down these things, and it just smells. It's just nasty. And then here goes. There's somebody's house there where kids play, and this is what's behind somebody's house. And there's a dog that's barking at me. Sorry, buddy. That end of that flume, I'm walking in an area that easily is the size of half of a football field, and it is just mush. Just ew. This is just a swamp. Again, we haven't had rain in a long time, but it's just garbage, debris, stuff everywhere. The Boxwood floodplain also has that blow sand in it too. It's just very loosely compacted. For some reason it's a little moister than over on the 12 Oak side. There's another drain pipe that comes off of Boxwood, and I'm not crawling in there, but again we got standing water and garbage because the topography outside the drain is higher than the bottom of the drain. All this is piled up debris from previous deposits of water and of course garbage. This flume is a kind of a natural flume. It seems to be moist as I walked across it, kind of muddy. So probably it's getting some drainage, but still this thing's pretty clogged up. We're at the very eastern lots, Carriage Glen now. Many of these houses, well, several of them right along here lost their fences, if not all of it, huge amounts of it. So and again, this was a 100-year flood, but considering the amount of, it looks like deposition in the bottom of the flood basin, we'd like to know that on less serious floods, we don't have to worry about the flood waters coming up higher than they need to be. And here as we go to Park, we can still see all the debris and gunk that's sitting around. Again, a concern is pests, rodents, whatever, right in people's backyards. You know, walking along here too, this is just like, it's like walking on a sponge. Everything is just, it's not wet, it's just not compact. I'm kind of concerned about erosion, or what kind of grass we're going to be able to get to grow on here to prevent erosion, because it doesn't feel like really healthy stuff. Speaking of erosion, here we are where the very eastern end of the Boxwood flume empties into the creek, and that's a mess. It's going to be kind of hard to figure out how this thing's going to drain out of here with all this junk that's in here. I don't know where these cement slabs came from, but you can see where the water backed up here and ate away behind it. And I can't believe that tree was in the flume at any time. This thing's just another stone flume. It's just destroyed. And the erosion here is, wow, that's pretty severe right there. I'm easily 8 feet in the air, and that's the that's the floodplain drainage there. That's not a real good drain plan. There's another kind of natural flume that's created itself there and draining in here. I know that blockage in the river is nothing, it just comes and goes, but it's another concern some people have. Anyway, I think that's about it. If I find anything else on the way back, I'll throw it in. I appreciate talking to some folks about this and seeing what the plan is, what solutions there are, and how we can help. Hope this helped. Well, I guess I did have one last thing. As you walk around these water retention areas, whatever they're called, you can, I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but you can see these things, they're not level. They're not made for draining. They're full of indentations and ridges, and here's a big pocket right here. And you can see in these deep pockets and ridges and stuff, they're either full of debris or garbage, or they're still wet because they don't drain. Just big pits all over the place. And we had a lot of trees and stuff float through. Probably could have carved some of this with the water flow. Of course, this washed out flume. See, it's got hills around it. Debris, so there's no way anything can get into it and drain out of here. These are definite ridges. One last observation on the floodplain. You see along 12 Oaks here, the people on the floodplain do a good job of maintaining their the backs of their properties with Bermuda to avoid erosion and take care of their properties. But you see, once it shifts over from private property over here to well, less maintained property, it drops down really quick. I think possibly we need to consider, besides the obvious drainage problems, a better way of maintaining these basins to avoid some of the problems we have, so they can look like this, not like that.